For the first time ever, Goku and Vegeta are face to face with the absolute peak of Saiyan potential. A Saiyan who has been alive for millions of years. An enigma. A glitch in the Matrix even. The son of the first Yamoshi. The man named Shishido. It's enlightening. Now, if you haven't watched the prequel or even the first part of the Universe Zero saga in the God of Destruction Vegeta series, I highly recommend going back and watching that right away because I think we're honestly about 15 chapters deep right now. As for what happens next as Goku and Vegeta travel Universe Zero, well, let's hop right in. After Goku and Vegeta were exiled to Universe Zero, they made a new friend named Vayne. And while it definitely wasn't all smooth sailing, they were quickly found by an angel who then brought them to the Angel Realm. There they observe as Shishido walks towards them from the endlessly white horizon. Both Goku and Vegeta could feel the intensity in every single cell of their body, and so it was only right that they meet the intensity with that of their own. Just like that, Goku would unleash Ultra Instinct in coherence with his Super Saiyan Blue and take on his brand new Super Saiyan White form. An unreal transformation, but in terms of where he was with the Omni Key, Super Saiyan White is still a weaker evolution. Then we have Vegeta's brand new Omega Vegeta state. He's still yet to come to terms with the particulars of all of this, but for now it's pretty much like ultra ego on steroids or something like that, considering how he transcended back when he was still a destroyer. Okay, so now we have Super Saiyan White Goku because of the Omni Key, and Omega Vegeta able to harness this because of the power of destruction he already has experience with, practically glistening with their auras. And then we have Shishido. One moment he was a block away, and the next he bestows upon Vegeta a blow so fast and so strong, Vegeta momentarily loses all the strength in his body, flickers back and forth from base to Omega state before eventually just falling back to base. Incredible. That's all Goku could muster in this moment. Unfortunately, Vayne looked like he'd just seen the embodiment of death itself. In his mind, he was still thinking that this is an elaborate prank by the Northern Enigma and how it's only a matter of time before he's duped. But after seeing Vegeta get one shot by a person whom he doesn't even know about, it's like everything he thought he knew turns out to be a complete mystery. Wait, that's not my son, Shishido says calmly. Of course not. Why'd you hit me? Vegeta instinctively replies. Shishido conveniently ignores Vegeta and looks to Kanchi. The look in his eyes stated that he wanted an explanation. Yes, Lord Shishido. It is just as you said, this man right here is not your son. In fact, the two of them have come from beyond this universe, Kanchi replies. Does that mean what I think it does? Shishido questions. Yes, exactly. They are both pure-blooded Saiyans, just like you, Kanchi replies. Goku and Vegeta are rather dumbfounded. They thought Shishido was already informed of their arrival, but apparently not. Shishido does take a few moments to process this profound information, by the way, and truth be told, he had no idea about his own origins. It's like even after he first opened his eyes, all that was awaiting him was endless darkness. But throughout the known and the unknown universes, this was the first time that a child has been born in this way, and so it didn't escape Zalama's eye. He was saved, and so as he grew older, he was told about his origins by Zalama. Sadly, the end of his father's race was a tragic one, and as fate would have it, Shishido was indeed the last pure-blooded Saiyan for the next millions of years. Little side note here, guys, if any of this is kind of confusing to you, I definitely recommend going back and watching part 8 of our God of Destruction Vegeta saga. That's where Zenith goes over how Vegeta and the others are not the first ever Saiyan race. Alright, so despite his unusually big frame and extraordinarily vibrant presence, Shishido walks up to both Goku and Vegeta and gives them a massive bear hug. You guys are just like me for real, Shishido laughs. Goku just starts laughing as well, while Vegeta has visibly apparent question marks looming all over his head. He's also the next one to break the silence. So, Lord Shishido, you mentioned something about your son. Does that mean there's another Saiyan in this universe? Your son? Vegeta asks. Yes, of course. I never even thought that I'd meet someone of my kind after such an extensive period of time, and since you look like my son, I proceeded to greet like usual. Though do not be mistaken, I have a son, but I'm not sure if you can call him a Saiyan exactly, Shishido replies, once again closing with much more questions than answers. Shishido could tell that the two boys are definitely having a hard time understanding all of this, and he's wise enough to understand how their perception of things might be different from his. Kanshi also notices this and says, "Why don't you explain things from the very beginning, Lord Shishido? I'm sure these two are curious as well." Goku and Vegeta nod. Shishido grins and then begins with the story of his earlier days. Old age is getting to me, so I might miss a few details, but I'll tell you, and I suppose I'm interested in your story as well, so how about we get something to eat? We'll talk afterwards, and at the mention of food, you already know Goku is gonna throw up that huge thumbs up. Vegeta is all game as well, of course, but he couldn't help but notice how Shishido mentioned old age despite being millions of years old. Does that even matter at this point, he thinks to himself? Although he could tell that everything will eventually make sense. Though one thing was for sure, the vision, that glimpse of Super Saiyan Infinity that Vegeta saw back then was not Shishido. Kanshi then warps everyone to a dining hall where a stupid amount of food was already waiting for them. Meanwhile, in the new Universe 7, 10 years have passed and events of great historic proportions continue to take place even after the protagonists themselves have been exiled. Vegeta's final words would stick with Broly. First, he trained his mind to always be in a state of serenity, and then he reignited within the Saiyans a newfound will to be the strongest race to have ever lived. Unlike King Vegeta, who felt threatened by Broly's presence, King Sadala didn't have such reservations. Before he knew it, Broly found himself a new home on planet Sadala. Gohan would want Pan to be close to our Saiyan lineage as well, considering how that is just kinda how it should be, and looks like Trunks and Goten would have the same idea. So 2 years after Broly would become a part of planet Sadala, Gohan, Trunks, and Goten pay them a visit together with Pan and Bulla. 3 years later, Frieza, after yet another time skip's worth of training, shows up at planet Sadala. No, he's not here to repeat history. All he wants to do is to prove his own competence. He challenges Broly and faces off in a battle that quite literally puts a dent in the universe. Such wild antics continue throughout the years, so much so that all Champa can see is his own fate being just like his brothers. He knows that it's only a matter of time before these folks pull something off too preposterous, and just like that, his head is going to be the next one on the chopping block. Especially now that the Omni King is consciously intervening whenever is deemed necessary, and Whis is no slouch either. In the present day multiverse, only the strong will survive at the top. The destroyers, or even the angels, they no longer have the luxury to stay lax. Broly accepts the role and becomes the new destroyer of Universe 7. Frieza takes another L because he had been looking forward to becoming a destroyer all this time, and as for Broly, becoming a destroyer is simply a label. He still bears strong animosity towards the Grand Priest, considering what he experienced during the battle with the Grand Priest that permanently changed the multiverse. The Grand Priest is gonna wake up in about 1,000,000 or so years, and as long as Broly is still the destroyer, you can bet he's gonna be ready for that day. Back to the banquet in the Angel Realm. Goku stuffed himself about 10 times more than usual, and that is honestly saying something. "What's wrong with you, Kakarot? You've been weirder than usual," Vegeta says. "Yeah, it feels like I've been in contact with direct sunlight for too long," Goku replies. "Yep, definitely weirder than usual. Get yourself together, Kakarot. We only have 1,000,000 years until the Grand Priest wakes up, and I'm winning this time," Vegeta declares. Although what Vegeta doesn't understand, or even Goku for that matter, is how this is the first time Goku has eaten ever since he wished for food in the void. His subconscious brain instantly recalls the suppressed trauma from back then, and as an instinctual response, Goku somehow manages to eat 10 times as much as usual. It's a good thing they have enough food, I guess. "So, Lord Shishido, you were about to share your story?" Vegeta asks. "It's okay, Vegeta, you don't have to address me so formally. I'd rather Kanshi doesn't so either, but he says that's how his race speaks," Shishido replies. "Well then, Start talking, Shishido. We haven't got all day, Vegeta says, grinning. You like this guy's attitude. Now that's more like it. Well then, let's start with, how about after I was told about my origins? At first I was in denial. I couldn't comprehend how I'm the last one of my kind. It felt too bizarre. I couldn't calm down, and so from there on out, I became a wild lion per se. I'd hunt anyone and everyone I'd come across. Sometimes I'd win, and most of the time I'd lose. Then one day things began to change. My hair turned golden. I could feel it in my bones that I'd gotten stronger. It did feel rather tiresome though, but just like that, I got stronger. Believe me as I say this, Goku and Vegeta, I don't know about where you come from, but this place is practically drooling with people so strong, you'll think you're in a dream. For as much as I've lived, I don't think I'm the strongest. But Goku and Vegeta didn't care about the fact that there are stronger people out there, all the more reason to get even stronger. If they can get stronger than the Grand Priest, they are the strongest, and it's that simple to them. Kanshi on the other hand jokes about how it wasn't until after Shishido's hair turned golden that Lord Zalama looked into Yamoshi's memories to see if there's any chance that he or his wife had thought of their son's name. And bingo, the name Shishido was indeed in their memories. And for the sake of context, the word Shishi means lion, but Shishido in its entirety is a word for a pepper from East Asia. Yamoshi and his wife had thought long and hard about this name, and it would have been a real shame if Shishido never got to honor it. So as Shishido goes on, he continues by saying the funny thing is, golden isn't where it ended for him. Every so often when I'm beaten almost all the way to death, I'll revive, and if I'm lucky, my color will change as well. Years turned into decades. Decades turned to centuries, and century into millennia. I became a giant. My body hair started glowing and whatnot. I've had my fair share of evolutions. I guess that's what you guys call it. These evolutions sure do be draining stamina though, you know what I'm saying, fellas? Goku and Vegeta just kinda look at each other confused. So why didn't you just revert back to your base state, Vegeta asks. Wait, you can do that? Shishido replies. Yeah, I mean, aren't you in your base state right now? Vegeta asks. No, I lost consciousness the last time I fought my son, and when I woke up, I was like this, Shishido replies. This causes Vegeta and Goku to just burst out with laughter. So tell us, Shishido, tell us about your son, Goku asks. Alright, I can do that. So around 9,000 years ago, a certain dragon came and found me. She wanted us to make something strong, and since I had only just returned from a death battle, I still had adrenaline running in my system, so things happen, Shishido boldly declares. Vegeta pauses for a second and asks, please tell me you weren't still transformed when that happened? Of course I was. I had just returned from a battle that almost killed me. Why wouldn't I be, Shishido asks. Hearing this, Vegeta lets out another burst of laughter and can't help but facepalm me. This is a Saiyan and Dragon hybrid with the greatest entanglement of Saiyan genes, isn't it? I'm sorry, Kakarot, but it looks like the Saiyan hybrid with the most potential isn't your son, Vegeta says, laughing. I see. I finally understand. So this is the one whom they call the Northern Enigma, huh? While Shishido certainly isn't done telling his stories, an interesting little detail he glossed over about the birth of his son leaves Vegeta flabbergasted. He stands up, unleashing all of his pent-up excitement as his Ultra Ego aura goes wild and declares, so when do we get to meet this Saiyan Dragon hybrid prince?